Welcome back to Cossy Podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. We have a bit of breaking news. 3 major players have actually withdrawn from international duty due to injuries. That is William Saliba, Bukayo Saka, and Leandro Trossard. The England national team, first and foremost, have confirmed that Saka cannot play any more football, as confirmed by Mikel Arteta, by the way, yesterday. Bit of embarrassing from them, but they are saying that Bukayo Saka will not join England anymore, and the call-up has been cancelled. Leandro Trossard as well has pulled a hamstring. Today, he's also pulled out of the national team for Belgium, and William Saliba is nursing a toe injury. He will be out of the national team for France and their fixtures this international break. Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. We're going to be diving into some of these injuries, some of this news, and the extent, but also I think the big part is the what it actually means, because these players could actually be getting a chance to rest. They could be, it could be a blessing in disguise that Saliba is not going for France, that Trossard is not going to play for Belgium, and also Bukayo Saka is not going to be playing for England as well. Let's get this video to 300 likes, and let's dive into those injury updates now. Right, so let's start off with Bukayo Saka, because I had given you some kind of update on the last video. So the England national team have gone ahead to actually, make a couple of medical tests on him, just to confirm whether Arsenal are not lying. Now, like I said, for me, it's embarrassing that the England national team can actually distrust Arsenal. Arsenal is an entity that has made its players always available for every national team, and for any national team to actually come and say, we've got to confirm if you're not lying, it's absolutely wicked. It's purely wicked stuff. But now, anyway, their findings are not different from what the Arsenal medical team found out, and also what Mikel Arteta communicated in his last press conference. He said the player cannot go. He said the player cannot play football for now. He's not trained in over 1 week, and there is no way you expect him to actually step on the pitch and give you the best out of the best. So Bukayo Saka has pulled out of England national team for the 2 fixtures. They'll be playing against Austria, and I think Australia actually, and the other fixture they'll be playing against Italy. And for me, guys, this one is a major boost. In my last video, I said Saka is out for 2 weeks, and that is a confirmation that I have. Unless it's longer, unless it's shorter, that is a confirmation I have. Saka is going to be out for a maximum period of 2 weeks, and those 2 weeks at the same period of time that Arsenal are not going to be in action. That one is a blessing in disguise. That one is a good one, because with Saka, he's got to rest. We've got to agree, and we've all said and talked to Mikel that it's gonna reach a time when you need him against a Manchester City, against a Liverpool, against a Chelsea, and he is not available. Why? Because you played him for 90 minutes against Brentford, because you played him for 90 minutes against Bournemouth, you played him for 90 minutes, or you tried to play him for 90 minutes against FC Lens in the Champions League. Rotation in this Arsenal team is key, and every player is being rotated. You look at how many times Odegaard came off the pitch last campaign. It helped to preserve him. It helped to protect him from injuries and a couple of late fitness knocks, and a couple of fatigue and burnout. I don't think Saka is protected by the manager, and I don't think the team and the national team are protecting Bukayo Saka. As long as he can go, as long as he can play, they just call him up and they just give him game time. Yes, he's good and he's performing with a lot of precision and a lot of quality. But then, as managers, you've played this game and you are 30 years older than this boy. You're 40 years older than this boy. You've got to protect him. I think Southgate is one of the players, is one of the people I expect to protect Saka. Mikel Arteta as well, as one of the people you expect to protect Saka. And I don't think they've done their job. I don't think they've done it to the level that it should be done. I think Saka is the only player that has played as many minutes consecutively for both England and Arsenal, and it's unfair. It's purely unfair. The talent that England have and the talent that Arsenal have, it's unfair that Saka doesn't get time to rest. It's unfair that Saka doesn't get rotated as well. But why I think this is a blessing in disguise. Number one, he's going to stay at the Arsenal training centre at London Colney, and I think after this week, because players will be off for this week, after this week he will be coming back, and we could actually get to understand what the real problem is. But secondly as well, he rests to get rid of the burnout. He becomes fresher, in my opinion, and he will have a much better season, right? And then also, if you're Saka and you're looking at this international break, it's time to work on a couple of things that have actually not gone right, especially at Arsenal. I don't think Saka's been at the best of his game, courtesy of the injury, obviously, but also there are things that he's got to work on with Mikel Arteta separately. So this is a major opportunity for Saka, a major opportunity for Mikel Arteta to go, hey, this is what you've done this campaign. This is the output. How about you do this and this and this, and we could have such and such an outcome. So Saka out of England. I'm happy with that one. I don't think it is any escalation. It is just a medical test that has been done later by England just to confirm that Arsenal are not lying. As simple as that. So nothing to be scared about Saka. 2 weeks and he will be back against Chelsea. Rest assured about that. However, let's get into the ones that are really scary. One is Leandro Trossard. Now, yesterday in his press conference, Mikel Arteta talked about Leandro Trossard and the injury update. And he said Leandro Trossard pulled something in his hamstring, and that is why Gabriel Martinelli came on. Mikel says he looked back and Gabi was saying, I'm ready to go. He's pulled something. You cannot play him anymore. I'm ready to go. But Leo is an important player for us, like really important. And with hamstrings, they're tricky injuries. They're very tricky injuries. We've seen a couple of times when a player pulls a hamstring and they can come back within 3-4 weeks. But then there are also times where a player goes for months out of the squad, months out of the team. Now, it's lucky, and we are lucky that Mikel Arteta noticed it earlier, and he saw it, and the medical team saw it, and therefore, we didn't try to force him, and we didn't try to play him in the second half of that game. It's also a blessing that Gabriel Martinelli was back as an option, because with Martinelli back, Mikel doesn't have a huge, demand to play Trossard. He's got to just switch Trossard and Martinelli, and that's what he did. But Leandro Trossard, hamstring injury, that one is going to hurt us. That one is really going to hurt us if it's a long period of time. Tomorrow, I'll be giving you the extent of the injuries, how long they're going to be out, and how bad they are. But with Leandro Trossard, what we have and what he actually gives us is options, like real options. This campaign is not really started off very well, like in preseason. He's already suffered 2 separate injuries, by the way. One in the UEFA Champions League against PSV, and the second one against Manchester City yesterday. But without him, you don't have the options. Without him, you don't have the 11 to, help out with Martinelli, especially with rotation. Without him, you don't have that guy that can actually come in midfield to replace Kai Havertz. And without him, we don't have the false number 9 that we can also play. So he's such an important player for us. He's such a key player for us. I'm not really sure how long it's going to be out. But I wish it's earlier. I wish he comes back earlier rather than later. He's a player we will need later on. He's a player that we need, especially with this calendar. 3 games, a game per 3 days. We actually need to have him. We need to have Leandro Trossard in the side. There are not so many players that you can call on to in this Arsenal team, and they come right away from the bench, and they come right away from a spell of lack of game time, and they deliver. That's what we've seen with Leandro Trossard. He's coming in the Everton game and won that game for us. He influenced the PSV game massively, like really massively. And the quality of goals he plays, the quality of goals he scores, the quality at which he plays every weekend when he's on his good day, we are going to miss him very much. We are really going to miss Leandro Trossard very much. But that's also a confirmation there. The Belgian national team are confirming that Trossard is not going to be playing for them this international break. With Trossard, I think burnout is not a problem. He's not played a lot of minutes ever since signing for Arsenal in January. But again, if his hamstring injury is not a big problem, again, he's one of those players that I've got questions to answer and questions to ask of the manager during this international break. Why aren't I playing as regular as Martinelli and Saka? Yet I'm really at that level, and you've always told me, you've always told the media, I'm at that level. And whenever I've played in the team, I've actually done the right things right. So why aren't I playing, and what do I have to improve on? Again, I would say it's a blessing in disguise to have a player like Trossard not play for the international team. However, I do not know the extent of this injury. It could be it could be a cast in disguise, right? But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Is it a cast in broad daylight? Is it a blessing in disguise with Leandro Trossard? I'll be letting you know tomorrow as soon as that update comes out later on. Right, let's talk about William Saliba, because again, William Saliba has dropped and has dropped out of his international call-up with France. This one is the most important one. This one is the scary one. You can talk about any other player not being available and not being around earlier in the campaign, not William Saliba. For me, he's the one player that Arsenal cannot win games without. Yeah. So what we saw last campaign was Arsenal struggling to find a partner for Gabriel. But even when we found a partner for Gabriel, it was simply not good enough. Rob Holding was annihilated by the likes of Erling Haaland. He was made, incompetent. He was made look incompetent and useless as well. So Rob Holding was not an option. Jakub Kiwior and Gabriel played a little bit stronger together, but both of them do not have that precision, that quality, that speed, that game reading mind that William Saliba possesses. And then Julian Timber, who would be the replacement to Saliba, is also injured at the moment. So we are in deep problems. We are in deep soup if this guy picks up an injury. So according to what I've seen, William Saliba's injury is a toe injury. Now, it's serious to the extent that the players pulled out of the French national teams, team games. It's very serious. We know such players. I mean, when you have Jules Koundé out, you have William Saliba out. Maybe France are left a little bit light. So they would have wanted him, and he could have seen it as a big opportunity to go and represent France with Jules Koundé injured, because he was injured yesterday in that game against Mallorca for Barca. But if it is serious to the extent that he pulls out, then there is a big problem, right? There's a big problem. Now, last campaign, it was a back injury that actually kept him out until the end of the campaign. And Mikel actually said, if Saliba doesn't get injured, we win the league. And Saliba also thinks that if he doesn't get injured, we win the league. And I totally agree with both of them. I think Arsenal lost the league the moment William Saliba picked up that dreadful injury. That is when the league was lost. That is when the title was actually gone. So Saliba with this toe injury, I pray and I really, really pray that it's just about 1 week. Because toe injury shouldn't be that problem. Shouldn't be a problem. I don't expect a toe injury to go into 1 month. We need him in our next fixture, which is against Chelsea. And then we need him in those 2 fixtures against Youssef El Nasri at Sevilla. Those 2 fixtures are going to be very key for Arsenal in the Champions League. We lose any of the 2, deep problem. It will be a deep problem. But if we can win both of them, it actually puts and draws light at the end of the tunnel that Arsenal could eventually actually win the league, win the group actually, and go and play a weaker team in the round of 16. So William Saliba's injury puts us in a very difficult position. We had dealt with it very well. I won't even blame Mikel because we dealt with it very well as we brought in Julian Timber. Timber is injured. You only pray and you only have to hope that Saliba doesn't get injured until the end of the campaign. And the other thing I've loved about it is he's withdrawn from France. Because I tell you what, a toe injury is one that a player can play with. And it's one that can easily get escalated. So Arsenal assessing him and the player getting consent from France and Arsenal getting consent from France as well that the player should stay means he's important. Toe injuries don't keep players out. Toe injuries, someone could just get a bigger boot and he could play the game, right? But Arsenal realize how important Saliba is. We realize how untouchable, and we realize he cannot actually be lost to any cause. And therefore, he will stay. Okay. So, guys, until we get the maximum dates and when they will be back, let's keep calm. Let's stay calm. I don't think Saka is a serious one. I think the one that really scares me is TROSSARD. It's a hamstring injury. The Saliba one worries me because Saliba is irreplaceable. Gabriel had a very good game. But that's because Saliba had eliminated Erling Haaland out of the equation. So literally could deal with everything else. And because Saliba had dealt with the big threat. I don't think anyone can deal with without Erling Haaland in a game of football where Arsenal play Man City apart from William Saliba, unless otherwise, right? So the options are narrow for William Saliba position. The options are there for the Leandro Trossard position, especially Emil Smith-Rowe and Reece Nelson. And of course, we have no good options for Saka, but Gabriel Jesus, luckily, this guy is that talented and he's been drifting out on the left, out on the right as well to give us that cover and depth. I'll speak to you right in the next one. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the podcast as well. Speak to you in a bit.